Hey everyone, it's time to review this 1983 comedy starring Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy, Trading Places, as part of the new Paramount Presents Blu-ray line. Stay tuned. Hey, welcome everybody to the Mid-Level Media channel. I'm Ken and I'm here today to review the Blu-ray copy of Trading Places from Paramount Studios as a part of their new Paramount Presents line. This is number 12 in that line and I believe it came out last December the 1st, so I'm a little bit behind. But I just got a chance to catch up on this line. I just bought 4 of them. I did an unboxing video last week. I put up a poll on YouTube in my community forum to just kind of ask which one of those Paramount releases that you guys wanted me to review first. And you almost unanimously, well, at least half of you guys, I think like 55%, voted for Trading Places. So you guys wanted me to tackle this classic 1983 Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy comedy, a movie that I had never seen before. Yes, I know it's hard to believe, but I have never seen the film Trading Places. I've actually never seen Coming to America either. That's on my list to watch for Eddie Murphy, as well as The Golden Child, which I might actually be reviewing Golden Child because that one came in second in the polls. But before I get into what my thoughts are on this movie, I want to ask you all, if you have not yet subscribed to the Mid-Level Media channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. I do all kinds of great, amazing content on this channel centered around the world of physical media, movies, I do reviews, I do weekly Blu-ray hunts, a weekly physical media update where I update all of you all on the latest 4K Blu-ray announcements. I do weekly live streams where we just all get together and talk movies. I engage with you guys in the chat. It's a ton of fun. I would definitely love for you guys to join me there as well. So hit that subscribe button. Also be sure to like this video, guys, and comment down below if you have any thoughts on Trading Places, because I know this is a beloved classic. This is a beloved classic comedy from the 80s. Tons of people love it. Tons of people have fond memories of it. And now I have my own memories. So with that, guys, let's get into the actual movie. And we're going to talk about the actual movie. And then we're going to move into my thoughts on the visuals, the audio, the special features, the packaging itself. I'm not going to do an unboxing portion of the video like I usually do because I just unboxed this on my channel. You can go back and check out the unboxing of all 4 of those Paramount Presents titles. So let's just get into it, guys, and talk about the actual film of Trading Places from 1983, directed by John Landis. Dan Aykroyd is like this rich character. He works on Wall Street. He's got a couple of bosses that he works for in the firm. Eddie Murphy is basically homeless. He's on the street. He's a poor guy. And they somehow, through a sequence of events and the 2 older men that own the company, bet against one another, basically saying that you know, Dan Aykroyd wasn't anything without his money, and they would bet that if they found a way to take away all his wealth, they could basically replace him with this homeless man. That was the bet. And they do it. Eddie Murphy rises up in Dan Aykroyd's spot, takes his spot on Wall Street, and Dan Aykroyd basically becomes homeless as a result of this chain of events that these 2 older owners of this company kind of orchestrate. So as far as the movie, guys, I was a little bit underwhelmed, especially considering the amount of hype that this movie has as far as like being one of those classic comedies, one of those classic Eddie Murphy movies. And it's not that it wasn't funny. I laughed a lot consistently. How could you not with these 2 performers? But it's just that my expectation levels were up here and it just kind of was right here. I thought it was good. I thought it was okay. I did enjoy myself watching it. Now, I'm going to go into just my positives, where I'm kind of at in the middle, and my negatives of the film before I give my final score. So as far as positive, guys, Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy, they are at the top of their comedic game in this movie. Eddie Murphy is only 22. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that this is one of Eddie Murphy's big first starring roles in a movie. I know he's starring alongside Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd had already been established. He'd done The Blues Brothers. He'd done a few other movies with John Belushi before this, so he was an established comedic actor. Of course, this is the year before Ghostbusters, so he was probably actually working on Ghostbusters while this was in production. So he was quite a bit older, already established. This is Eddie Murphy's like first big break. They're hilarious, they're funny, they're at the top of their game. Love watching these 2 in this movie, and they're awesome. Now, I did like the story quite a bit too. It's this classic kind of timeless Prince and Pauper kind of rags to riches story, and riches to rags in reverse, where these 2 switch places. I think it works, and especially works in this kind of 80s time period, during this time where there was a lot of social and cultural unrest within like race, the rich and the poor, and the disparity between the two. So I thought it kind of tread that social commentary very well and really brought us a good story that wasn't just funny for the sake of being funny, but actually taught us some life lessons in there as well. So I did enjoy this story. Also, we got to talk about Jamie Lee Curtis.
I want to see Jamie Lee's breast. When do we see Jamie Lee's breast?
Wowza. So I remember this movie from, I think the first time I actually heard the name for this movie was in the movie Scream, when Randy specifically references Trading Places.
Until Trading Places in '83. Jamie Lee was always the virgin in horror movies. She never showed her tits till she went legits.
As the movie that Jamie Lee Curtis shows her tatas in. And she does that in this movie not once, but twice. And yeah, I look, it's Jamie Lee Curtis, and I've seen True Lies, and in this movie, blows everything in True Lies that you saw with Jamie Lee Curtis out of the water. I'll just say that. So Jamie Lee Curtis is really good in the movie as well beyond that. But yeah, that's a moment that'll stick in my mind for a while. Seeing young Laurie Strode topless. It was something. And then you got the two older guys, the owners of the company, played by Ralph Bellamy and Don Amici, and they're classic actors, classic character actors that have been acting since the 30s and the 40s. They're great in the film, as well as these kind of old, slightly racist, which we'll get into in a second, businessmen that kind of create all of these problems for Murphy and Aykroyd throughout the film. Now, getting into just what I'm on the middle with it, guys, and it's not, I don't really want to call these negatives because I know it was the time period, but does that make it acceptable? But this movie, there's a lot of racial slurs. There's a scene with Dan Aykroyd and Blackface, and it's like, I get that was the time. And to be honest, I wasn't entirely upset with the Blackface as much as I was with the racial slurs, because I don't like that. It doesn't fit. It just feels out of nowhere because I'm not used to it, especially not in a movie that's just supposed to be funny. It always kind of just makes me sit up a little bit and just feel a little bit uncomfortable in that moment. And in these scenes where they're using the N-word with Eddie Murphy in the room, it just felt a little unnecessary. As for the Blackface thing, like I said, I understand if some people are upset with it. Here, again, I'm a white guy. It's not like I have any place to say anything about like what's acceptable and what's not. I just didn't have a problem with that particular scene because he was in disguise. So he dressed up like he was black because he was with Eddie Murphy. So it still plays as a little bit kind of awkward, but again, like it's whatever. So it doesn't really age all that well in that sense. So let's go on to my negatives of the film, guys, because there are some negatives here, and there are reasons why this film didn't entirely hold up for me like I was hoping that it would. So to me, you have this whole story, and the whole idea of the story is that Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy are working together against these older guys, but in my opinion, it takes a little bit too long for them to get to that point. And when they do, by the time that they do, they have come so far in their development, as far as like their character development throughout the story, that I didn't really buy into their connection. I didn't think they had all that great of chemistry either, because we didn't really experience any kind of journey with them two as characters together. We more or less felt more of the journey with them as individuals throughout the film. And Dan Aykroyd is with Jamie Lee Curtis for part of this film, for a good portion of this film. I really didn't feel any chemistry between them as well. So like I said, a lot of this cast is great. The people in it are great, some great star power in this movie, but I just didn't feel any of that chemistry between any of them. So when it got to the point for me to need to care about these characters, I really didn't. I really didn't care about them at all. As for the movie, guys, I did enjoy it, but it's just not that classic comedy. It just didn't pop for me as this iconic comedy that I'm sure it does for a lot of people. And a lot of that could have to do with I just didn't grow up with this movie. I didn't have it in my life before this moment. And maybe this is something that you need to like have grown up with. I don't know, but for me, this is a 7.5 out of 10 movie. So I enjoyed it, but not great. Now let's move on to the visuals of this film, guys, because to be honest, this is probably the best this movie has ever looked. There was a Blu-ray transfer of this a couple of years ago, the 35th anniversary edition. This is a 4K transfer, not a 4K Ultra HD, of course, but this is a 4K transfer that was supervised by John Landis, and it looks really good. Now, I had some issues here and there, but overall, like it popped. It looked really good, so I give that a 9 out of 10. As for the audio, I thought the audio was very good as well. No issues with that. That is a 5.1 True HD sound mix, so no problems there as well. 9 out of 10 for the audio. Now, as for this overall packaging, I do like the packaging. For me, like, the packaging is one of the big selling points with the Paramount Presents, because you do have these covers that kind of flip open, revealing the poster within. Now, what I don't like is the fact that the poster within, and it seems to be that way with a couple of recent releases, is the exact same. And it wasn't like that in the beginning of this Paramount Presents line. Like, You Had to Catch a Thief had a very different cover than it did the poster underneath, and it had a different Blu-ray case as well. So I don't know why they're it feels like they're getting a little lazy with their packaging now. So for the packaging, it's still great. It's still great packaging. I love the way that the Paramount Presents line is doing their packaging. So I still give it an 8 out of 10, but it's not as good as it was in the beginning, in my opinion. So as for special features, guys, I'm giving that an 8 out of 10 because we do get 2 brand new special features here. We get an interview with John Landis talking about the production of the film, talking about making the film. It's always good to hear him, a classic director who directed American Werewolf in London, Animal House, so many great films from the 70s and 80s. And it was cool to hear him talk about the film. It's only about 6-7 minutes, and all these releases have those kind of special features in them. So this is nothing new, but it's new for this release. And they also had the isolated score thing that the Train release had for Kino Lorber. I don't know why they're doing this new thing. It seems to be some kind of new craze where they're doing this isolated score so you can just listen to the film without hearing any of the talking. It's very weird, but that is new for this set. All the other special features were from previous releases, so they have a making of, they had deleted scenes. It's nice that these are included in the set, but it is nothing new. So for the special features, I give it an 8 out of 10. So I'm just glad that it does have some new stuff. So overall, guys, we have an 8 out of 10 for the movie. We have a 9 out of 10 for the visuals. We have a 9 out of 10 for the audio. We have an 8 out of 10 for the packaging and an 8 out of 10 for the special features, which brings us to an overall score of an 8.25 out of 10 for this Paramount Presents release of Trading Places. So yeah, overall, guys, what I would say is I do recommend picking this up if you are a fan of Trading Places, because this is honestly the best way to watch this film. It is the best transfer, the clearest, crispest transfer of Trading Places. So if you're a huge fan of Trading Places, pick it up. If you're not, if you've never seen the movie before like me, I can't say I recommend it for the $23 price point. Wait for it to drop in price a little bit and then pick it up. So with that, guys, that is my review for Trading Places. If you do enjoy content like this, be sure to like this video, and I will keep doing more reviews for these Paramount Presents releases. Also, comment down below your thoughts on Trading Places, your thoughts on this review. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? I want to hear it all in the comments below, and let's talk about this movie. Also, guys, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on all bell notifications for future videos, and we'll see you next time.